Salve, salve, guitar community! Today's lecture is devoted to the movements of the left hand, more specifically in how you should practice the basic chords. This lesson is directed to the beginner students. However, the concepts that I'm about to show you also applies to advanced guitar techniques. There are several videos in the web devoted to the basic chords. In those videos, you find instructions on how to build the chords in the fingerboard, what is the harmonic structure, and so on. This video will be focusing on details. Have you heard the term microphrasing? Have you heard musicians saying that the study of music, the study of an instrument, is all about problem solving? Well, when I seriously began studying the guitar at the age of 10, I had an important teacher who pointed out to me that besides knowing the shape of each chord, the order that each individual finger touches the fingerboard of the instrument also matters. Are you curious? Well, let's begin our guitar journey. The first step is to know the shape of each individual chord really well. The order that each individual finger touches each individual string matters. This is one of the critical concepts of today's lesson. So here we have the C chord chart. One common mistake made by students is that they start the movement with finger number 1, fretting the C on the B string. I understand your confusion because you're trying to be coherent by simply following the order of 1, 2, and 3. However, the guitarist in almost all cases should think from a downward motion. It is crucial to consider the movements of the other hand. Right hand strokes or arpeggio patterns usually begins from a downward motion. Therefore, in the case of the C chord, finger number 3 should be the first individual finger to touch the fretboard because it's the first note that the right hand will hit. To clarify a few things, here's an example of how you can practice the C chord. So again, we're thinking from a downward motion. Here we have the C chord. Now I'm going to rest my hand and pretend that I don't know the C chord. This is kind of hard. But the way I would practice this would be from downward motion, think about the first note that you'll be hitting, which is this C here. So here we're going to go and place our third finger on the C. Next, it's the E, and we're using the middle finger, so or finger number 2. Now we have an open string, which is the G, and then here we have finger number 1, touching the B string, which is the C here, and just another open note. So again, the movement at the speed of no mistakes. Now, at a closer look, maybe. All right. In music, details make a huge difference, especially when looking at the end product. From now on, for each basic chord and even more advanced chord shapes that you learn throughout your guitar journey, approach it using the downward motion concept. Think about what would be the first note that the right hand would touch and go from there. This may solve some technique foundation problems. Next, I'll show you how the thought process of transitioning from the C chord to the G chord. In the following example, the same thought process of a downward motion will be explored. In addition, other clues that may help with the learning process will also be discussed. Let's go check it out. Here we have the G chord. Right next, you have the shape of the G chord at the speed of no mistakes. Again, strumming. From C to G. Now I have a little groove going. Notice how I can change chords without even thinking about it. That's the goal of playing the guitar. Now at the speed of no mistakes, I'm going to do even slower. Notice finger number 2 and finger number 3. Notice that to switch from the G chord to the C chord, finger number 3 must come from the first string to the 5th string, while finger number 2 is moving at the same time. This is called microphrasing. This is how you should practice the transition of all your chords. Why a simple transition between C to the G chord is a way of microphrasing? First of all, let's discuss what microphrasing is and why we use this concept to practice our instruments. In guitar music, for example, we often encounter unfamiliar chord shapes, right-hand digits, scale passages, and so on, sometimes all together. Basically, there's always a new technical challenge that our muscle memory is not familiar with that we can improve. In addition, sometimes even after days, weeks, months of studying a new piece, we cannot execute certain musical phrases in the way that we wish. As a result, you can kind of play the music, but usually sounds sloppy because you didn't identify specific technical problems. Each one of these problems can be the reason that's stopping you from improving. Long story short, microphrasing is the cleanup. Anytime you notice a problem with your playing, first, separate the problem from the context of the music. Form a hypothesis that will solve your technical problem. Practice the problem at the speed of no mistakes. Once you feel that the problem has been overcome, go back to the music and apply what you practiced to the contest. Today we learned how to practice the basic chords. We discussed the concept of thinking downward. Think about what would be the first note that the right hand would touch and build your left hand chord from there. We also learned how to practice the transition between chords, which is a form of microphrasing. My goal is to teach students of all levels that they can start thinking from themselves. If they encounter a technical problem with their playing, try to fix it. A more experienced player, such as myself, will always have something to add on. Nevertheless, musicians are problem solvers. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Otherwise, stay playing, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Ciao!